Were you told you were shy? Do you identify as shy? Do you hate that word now? Do you just wish you could get over it and get on with your life? Welcome to Shining Beyond Shy, empowering you to create a greater life than you ever thought was possible. With your Shining Beyond Shy host, Fiona Cutts. Hi, everybody. I'm Fiona Cutts, your host for Shining Beyond Shy, and welcome to this week's episode. So this week's episode is called Easy or Ease. And I'm going to tell you a story. A story of me traveling from Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, which is up in the middle of the country, down to the coast. So I'm at a place called Zadar. And it's funny because a few of my friends have been to Zadar and talked about it. Hi, Geraldine. I know you always listen to this podcast. And for some reason, when Geraldine and a couple of my other friends mentioned Zadar, it just, I don't know why, it just held an interest for me. So without knowing much about it, I chose to come down here for probably a week. And just because, again, actually, so I was in Montenegro last year, and the real height of the summer season, July and August, is a bit crazy with heat and with people. And so I was like, okay, May would be a good time to be by the seaside for a little bit, as I'm in Croatia. And it was a very last minute decision. And I made it, it was so expansive. I made it on, I can't remember the day. It doesn't even matter, but I made it in the morning, and by the evening I was doubting it. And so here's the thing, we can make a choice based on the energy, and then our heads came in, and I realized that was going on. It was just my head was coming in and making me doubt it. So I chose to continue anyway. And as I was falling asleep the night before catching the bus down to the coast, I suddenly remembered that there was an important document that I'd forgotten to pick up, and it put me into a bit of a tiz that I needed to take with me to be able to apply for my Croatian visa. And so it put me into a tiz, and I realized, oh, I can leave super early. I can take an Uber down to the bus station, which I was going to do anyway. I can take one to the translation agency, and then I can take another one to the bus station. It will be fine. So I chose to leave really, really early. And the place that I was staying, there are loads and loads of steps up to the top of the house where I was living, and then loads and loads of steps up to the road. And the guy helped me with my suitcase, thank goodness. And I carefully put in the name of the road, which was some complication Croatian word, the road where the translation agency is. And I was up at the top of the road, ready for my Uber. And the guy calls me, and he sounds really angry, and he doesn't speak English, and I don't speak Croatian. He's really angry. He's like, oh, what's going on? And then he was like, I can't find you. So he starts to text, and I can automatically translate it. I can't find you. I was like, well, Uber is a very simple system. You just follow the sat nav and you're there. But a lot of it doesn't always seem to be simple. Anyway, this continued, and he just wasn't getting any closer. So I chose to cancel him and choose someone else. A few minutes after I cancelled him, he shows up, and he just shouts at me from across the road. So he can't speak other languages, but he's like, "Scheiß you!" It's like, oh, those are the words that he knows in other languages. "Scheiß you." And so here's the theme. Ease, not easy. So it was just like ease, cancelling him, choosing the next person. Next person shows up, and he's like, he obviously speaks English, and he says, English it is then. And I said, oh, what other languages do you speak? And he says, Croatian, English, and Martian. And it just makes me laugh. And I sit back in the taxi, and I just relax and laugh, and we chat and we chat. But he tells me, oh, you're going to Krapanova Street. It was really called Krapanova. And I was like, no, I think it's something different. And I realized that when I put in the, when I was standing on the street, I put in the wrong, I didn't put Krapanova in, I put in a different one. But we were chatting so much, and I was like, oh, it will be okay. But it's so funny, when we arrived at number 14 Krapanova Street, it was not a translation agency, it was a tourist agency. I went into the tourist agency and I said, I don't think you are a translation agency. And she's like, no, we're a tourist agency. And I said, oh, can you help me? And she's like, yes, I see what's going on. This is Krapanova Street, you need or whatever else it was. By this time, the Uber driver was staying with me. I'd pay him cash outside the Uber system to have him stay with me. And so he took me to the next place, and he was like, the real place, like, oh, I should have known. Walked into the new place, up to the translation place, and I'd asked them, do you accept card? And they hadn't replied. So I was like, oh, it must be okay. And it's like, oh, we don't accept cards. And it's like, I didn't have time to go and get cash. And I was actually quite abrupt with them. And I said, look, I asked you and you didn't tell me that you didn't accept cards. So I've just got my card. And they actually said, it's fine. Just make sure you pay online. We'll send you the invoice. So that was great. And then we sped to the bus station, and I was still there 20 minutes early, even though there'd been all this stuff going on. And it was funny, the whole time with the going to the wrong place, the shyness driver, the translation agency, and the card, it was also ease, even though you could say it wasn't exactly easy. And then even when I arrived in Zadar, my Croatian phone, I need to top up the SIM card, and my English phone is always a bit hit and miss with data roaming. And so I didn't have the exact address of the apartment, and I just put the name in. And the guy, when he showed up, was like, oh, it's only a minute away. And I was like, that's strange. And I was like, I just said, look, I've got so much stuff. I'm sorry that I'm only giving you a short ride, but here we go. I need, I still need to have an Uber. And we arrived, and it was on the main road. And I was like, this doesn't look right. And nobody was there. And then when I called, I realized that, of course, it was the wrong apartment, Nina. And then I found another way, even with limitations of my phone, of finding out where I needed to be getting to. And I got to the new place easily. So I tell you all this long story. Hopefully it's made you laugh a bit, or it makes me laugh. But this is how my life sometimes is. It's like things aren't straightforward, and yet there's an underlying ease there. It's like, even at one point I was like, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I miss my bus. It's like 15 euros. I get on the next bus. How does it get better than that? I find a cafe which will wake up my Croatian phone, and I can sort out everything. It's like, not a big deal, actually, not a big deal. And yet somehow I knew that I would catch my bus. Something in me knew to set off early that morning. And I'm willing to follow that energy now. And when you're willing to follow that energy, things will be ease, even if they're not totally easy. And here's the thing. So we have in Access Consciousness, we have the mantra of all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. And I'm sure I've done an episode about this. In fact, I'm going to check, and if I haven't, I will do one. And in a way, this episode is about it, but I haven't called it this. Anyway, my sense is that we do have another episode about this, and we'll link it in the show notes. But the thing with Access Consciousness and using the tools of Access Consciousness is it doesn't necessarily make everything easy, but it gives you an underlying ease. It's like, it didn't faze me that somebody was shouting "Scheiß you" across the road at me. It didn't faze me that he was getting angry with me before that. Didn't faze me that I ended up in the tourist agency. It kind of made me laugh. And there was just an underlying fun, and having that fun taxi driver, there was just an ease and a lightness to it. And this is what using the tools of access consciousness can give you. This is what choosing to come out of shyness can give you, that space where you're willing to have everything ease. Or everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right neuron, good and bad, pod and poc, all nations, boys, programs and beyonds. And it does require, at least to a certain extent, stepping out of judgment of you. So some of you who follow me on Facebook, or actually you'll get it from this podcast too, will know that I tend to have these crazy adventures. If I was judging me because I'm supposed to be a facilitator of consciousness, who's stepped away from fatigue, who's stepped away from shyness, who's creating the life of her dreams, if I was judging me for this kind of stuff showing up, I wouldn't be able to have that ease with it. It's like if I judged me for having the wrong Uber driver show up, for having somebody shout at me, for going to Kraken over rather than some other street, I wouldn't be able to have that ease. That judgment stops the ease. So everything we talk about on these Shining Beyond Shy episodes will be helping you to get out of judgment. And we talked about this again with the shyness. It's like, it's one thing being shy, but what holds it in place and what makes everything much worse is that we then tend to judge ourselves for being shy. So all of this stuff that I'm talking about is interrelated. And this is why a lot of the themes will come up again and again and again and again on this podcast. But this thing of ease rather than easy, please, if you're on a journey of self-development, and that may be with access consciousness, you may have other tools that you're using. It's more, if you're on this journey of self-development, then it may not always be easy, and it is possible to have an underlying ease with it. And if you're not already using this, I really suggest using the access mantra, the access consciousness mantra. So, and what do I mean by using? Just saying 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. I'll just do it 10 times now. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease, joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease, joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease, joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease, joy and glory. Even if I can't count, I think that was about 10. It might have been 8, 9, or 11. How does it get better than that? And just noticed as I was saying that, I couldn't stop myself feeling, why would I want to stop myself? But it felt like that. It's like I could just feel the energy changing and becoming happier and happier. That's what the Access Conscious Mantra will do for you. It will, well, for me, it makes me feel happier in the moment, but it also, it's like it's saying to the universe, hey, I'm asking for this ease, joy, glory. Yes, it may not always be easy. It may sometimes show up a bit fucked up. And I'm going to have ease with that. So it's funny, it's made me happy saying that mantra, a reminder to me. And actually, to be honest, I'm going to just tell you what I do, because some of you may be crazy and choose to do that too. At this point, I'm actually waking up in the morning and saying the mantra 100 times. And before I go to sleep, I'm saying the mantra 100 times. So just see what's fun for me. If you're crazy and you just like to go for it like I do, you may go for 100 times. And please don't beat yourself up if you don't want to do 100. And I would recommend seeing how you get on with 10 in the morning, 10 in the evening. It just does change something. So thank you for listening to my crazy adventures. and for this episode around ease and easy. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. And so if this has been useful to you, if you know people who suffer from shyness, please send them this episode, send them other episodes, let them know about this. What if every shy person had access to these tools? So if that sounds like something that you think is a good idea, then please help me to spread the word and share this podcast. And thank you for being here. I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm so grateful for you. It would be great if you could subscribe, great if you could leave a review wherever you're listening. And if you'd like some quick, simple tips to overcome shyness wherever you are, please go to my website, fionacuts.com, where you can download my free product, 5 Steps to Overcoming Shyness Wherever You Are. Thank you again, and see you next time.